Yo, what is going on, guys? In this video, we are going to be spending 100 days in Pixelmon, but with a twist. The only Pokemons that I am allowed to use are Steel-type Pokemon. I also have 3 goals that I want to accomplish. First, acquire a team of Steel types. Second, I want to achieve Gigantamax form. And third, defeat 3 legendary or mythical 5-star raids. And with that, let's get on with the video. On day 1, I had to choose my starter Pokemon, and I only had one choice that I could make, and that was to pick Piplup, because that is the only Pokemon that becomes a Steel type once it is fully evolved. Once I spawned into the world, I saw that there was an orange sand block in front of me, and I knew that the only biome I can be in right now is the Mesa biome. While I was looking around, I found a Survivor that was level 21 and got absolutely destroyed by it. I ran and found a Savanna biome and saw a village that was nearby. My hunger was getting low, so I took some wheat to make some bread and also some carrots. I went inside the Pokemon Center and took the items that were inside of it. I healed my Piplup and made my way to the Pokemart to sell the items that I got from the chest. With these items that I sold, I managed to buy 43 Pokeballs. Outside the Pokemart, there was a Steel gym right next to it, and an Orchard biome as well. By the coast, there were 2 beams that had Dynamax Pokemon inside of it. I decided to gather some wood, and a Starly challenged me, but I lost and continued on gathering some materials. I crafted some planks, crafting bench, chest, and an axe. I placed the bed I got from the village and went to sleep. The next day, another Starly came up, and I almost won against it. I went back to the Pokemon Center and decided to explore the Mesa biome to find some Pokemon. I stumbled on a Beldum and wanted to catch it so badly. My Piplup was unable to deal any real damage to it, so I decided to just chuck some Pokeballs at it. He broke out of it and fought against a Roggenrola. There was also a Mega Steelix boss just chilling in the background. I threw many Pokeballs at it, but it got out every single time. So I made some bread and went to train my Piplup. I found a Nidoran burning in the fire, but he still somehow managed to defeat me. Found 2 Patrats and lost against them. I found a Shinx and lost to it. Jumped into quicksand and it took forever to get out of. Found another Shinx and still lost. The next day, I went to fight against a Nidoran and did everything that I could to win the battle and got some meat out of it. There was another Nidoran and I defeated him. And then there was another one that spawned, and so he had to suffer the same fate as his brothers. I also picked up some apricots and slaughtered a Burmy. On day 4, while fighting a Patrat, there was a Raikou that spawned in the area. Out of the 3 legendary dogs, this one was by far my favorite. I knew that I was not going to catch it, but I still threw a Pokeball just in case. I went back to the Mesa biome to find a Beldum, but ended up fighting an Aron instead. It was a Steel-type Pokemon, and I really wanted to catch him. He had the move Roar, and so the only way I was actually able to catch him was outside the battle and caught it. Up on the mountain, there was a Beldum and I challenged it. I lowered his HP to red and started throwing some Pokeballs at it. I threw 10 of them and he just would not get in. So I just decided to kill it and come back when I had better Pokeballs. Next to the Mesa, there was a desert biome, and right ahead of it, there was a wasteland biome. This was so cool to explore, and there were a lot of ghost and poison Pokemons inside there. Back in the village, there were 2 Honages that spawned, and I wanted to catch one of them because it was obviously a Steel type. I caught it, and I now had my 3rd Steel Pokemon. After that, I went exploring around the area and found a boat with a lot of loot and chests. I took all the furnace, fridge, and other devices. There was a structure near the Pokemon Center, and it turns out it was a graveyard. I found a biome with large birch trees and an Ilex shrine. After that, I found another village with a fire gym. I looked around and there was a temple nearby, so I took all the loot that was in there. I found a prison bottle, which I believe was used for the legendary Pokemon Hoopa, and a GS ball for Celebi. There was a cool looking oasis biome, a lavender field, a redwood forest. Inside, I found a Rookidee and caught it. Now I had 4 Steel-type Pokemon on my team. I won against a Zigzagoon, and my Piplup evolved into a Prinplup and wanted to learn Metal Claw. Further ahead, there was another village with another Steel type, and surprisingly, there were zombies around. I thought that they couldn't spawn in this mod, but I guess they do. I ran back to the redwood forest because there was a possibility that a Pineco can spawn, and I just found him chilling inside a den. So I decided to challenge it. This was my first time attempting a den, and it was pretty easy due to the fact that we had a Heatmore on our team. I threw an Ultra Ball and caught it. I also got a large candy from beating him and used it on my rookie D. He went from level 7 to 24, which was absolutely insane, and evolved into a Corvisquire. I then made my way back home and jumped into a pool of quicksand, made some extra chests, bought some Ultra Balls and Pokeballs, and used some bone meal to grow my apricorn farm. Back in the Mesa biome, there was a Pawniard, which was a dark and steel type Pokemon. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it, but I just caught it, just because he was a steel type. On day 10, I finally decided to do some normal Minecraft stuff and go mining. Inside the cave, there was a Chansey, and used Pineco to beat it, which ended up evolving into Fortress. After exploring a large cave, I found some diamonds. I made a pickaxe, and on the way home, there was a pink Doduo. I never saw this kind of Doduo before and caught it. It turns out that this mod has rare special colored Pokemons. After that, I decided to try and beat some dens that were around me, and it was pretty fun. And after that, I took on the Steel Gym. It was actually pretty easy going in, and my Aron was able to deal a lot of damage, as well as my Honage. Once I got to the gym leader, I knew that this was going to be easy because the Pineco that I caught was over leveled and was able to win against the entire team if I needed. I acquired my first gym badge and went to make an anvil and start making Pokeballs. I started smacking the anvil and worked on my apricorn farm at the same time. I made some Ultra Ball lids and started smacking them on the anvil. After having the materials required, I managed to make some extra Ultra Balls. After that, I made my way towards the fire gym I found earlier and challenged it. Knowing that this was a fire type gym, I knew that my team was going to have some trouble because they were all steel types. My entire team almost got wiped by the first trainer, but I ended up using my fortress and finished the job. I went to heal my Pokemons and challenged the next trainer. He only had one Pokemon, so defeating him wouldn't be that difficult. The third trainer was pretty easy to deal with. I took out his Magby, Pignite, and Slugma. The fifth trainer had a Braixen and a Charmeleon, and swooped them with my Fortress and Honage. It was now time to face the gym leader, and I knew that this was not going to be an easy fight. He ended up deleting my entire team, so I decided to do some training and exploring. I stumbled upon an extreme hills biome. I knew that a specific Pokemon spawned here, which was Riolu. He had a rare spawn rate and only spawned during dusk and dawn, so I knew that I would be in here for a while. I found a Double in the den of the Ice Plains, and then evolved my Aron into a Lairon afterwards. I ran into a coniferous biome, and it had these huge trees in it. I found another temple and found some diamonds and a relic band. I went back to the extreme hills biome and tried to find Riolu during sunrise, but ended up not finding him. Instead, there was a Steelix in the raid den and defeated it pretty easily. On my way back to base, I found a Blissey in the raid den and got some insane loot from it. I used the extra large candy on Corvisquire and evolved it into a Corviknight. I was now able to fly around, which was extremely convenient. Back in the base, I decided to steal one of the villagers' house and make myself at home. I went back to the Pokemart to sell the items that I found and saw that the relic in the desert was worth 100k and sold it instantly. I continued to develop the apricorn farm and plant white and red apricorns too. I decided to decorate the house and went back to the hills during dawn to find a Riolu, but ended up finding nothing. So I continued decorating the house and renovating it. The next morning, I went to the extreme hills and found a Genesect that spawned. I decided to fight it and tried to catch it, but realized that he was going to kill my entire team quickly, so I knocked it out. Riolu also didn't spawn, so I ran back home and found out that a temple was near my base and I never realized. I went inside and found some extremely insane loot with 2 relics and a GS ball, so I immediately sold them and made a ton of money. I bought some Ultra Balls and decided to do some exploring. After flying around for a bit, I found a mountain foothill biome, which was a biome where Riolu spawned in, so I decided to stay until dawn. Once the sun rose, I looked around for a Riolu, and he was just chilling on the side of the mountain. I lowered his HP to yellow and started throwing some Ultra Balls at it, and caught it. On the way back home, I found a den with a Zerka tree in it, and decided to challenge it, but he ended up one-shotting everyone on the first round. On day 30, I went to a nearby center that had a PC box and switched out Pawniard for Riolu. Later that night, I went to the plains biome to find the Glameow and got a Soothe Bell to put on Riolu. I needed that item in order to increase his happiness as fast as possible. I defeated a Rattata with Honedge and he evolved into a Doublade. Later that morning, there was a Landorus that spawned in the den and decided to challenge it. He easily defeated our team, so I went back to base and started making some timer balls. I crafted a diamond hammer and started smacking the anvil. A Cofagrigus spawned in the den and I knew that my fortress would be able to take it down and our team was able to pull through and defeat him. I also caught him for fun. I went back to the Mesa biome in order to find a Beldum, but ended up finding his evolution Metang instead, so I lowered his HP to red and almost ended up killing him. I started throwing some Ultra Balls and Timer Balls to catch him, and eventually ended up catching him with an Ultra Ball. And with that, I finally finished my first challenge and acquired a team of Steel types. Later that night, I went to look for a Zorua because he had the possibility of dropping a Dusk Stone. I was not going to use it on Doublade just yet because I wanted to level him up a bit more. I went back to base and started to do some renovations to the house because it lacked a bit of spice. So I replaced the bottom floor with some cobblestones and placed some fence around that connected my house to the carrot farm and wheat farm. Another Raikou spawned in the area, so I decided to evolve my Riolu into a Lucario and proceeded to absolutely destroy him. After that, I evolved my Lairon into an Aggron and he was able to jump super high. I continued on working on my farm and placed carrots in the entire area. Later that night, I evolved my Metang into a Metagross and was surprised that I was actually able to fly with him. After that, I decided to do some exploring and found a village that had a professor in it. So I knew that I had to come back here during dawn because he had the special Dynamax quest. There was another village next to it with a ground and grass gym. So I decided to challenge the ground gym first, but immediately got wrecked because he was higher level than me. So I made my way to the grass gym to see if it was easier, but they ended up being stronger than the ground type gym. I went back to the village that had the professor during dawn and finally got the quest for my Dynamax band. I had to defeat 84 Pokemon and capture 24 Pokemon. While doing the quest, I stumbled upon another steel type gym and challenged it. I knew that this gym was going to be easy because my Lucario was over leveled and just spammed the Aura Sphere until I got to the gym leader. Once there, my entire team swooped through the entire gym because my team was high leveled. And with that, I was able to get the mineral badge. I found the water gym, challenged it, and got destroyed by it immediately. I found a Crobat in a 5-star den and got his loot. Found Eradicate and got his loot as well. I decided to go ham on some Pokemons to make progress on the quest and did some raid dens as well. The amount of loot XP candies I was able to get was absolutely insane, and after beating a Sandshrew, I completed the Dynamax quest. When I got to the professor and turned it in, he made me do another quest, and in it, I had to defeat 30 trainers. The only place I knew to find trainers was in the ocean during nighttime, so I went back home during night and challenged every single trainer that I could find. I randomly decided to make a PC box for my convenience and went back to the professor because I was done with the challenge. On the way there was a shiny Krabby and caught my first shiny. Made my way to the professor and finally completed the Dynamax quest. I fought against a Pidgey and was given the option to choose a Keystone equipment, which was weird because I thought that it would give me the Dynamax band, but I guess that works. I looked in my inventory and saw the option to activate the band and was now finally able to Dynamax. On the way home, there was a Keldeo that spawned in the ocean and chose to test my Dynamax band with my Metagross. Turns out that he was too strong and ended up defeating us all. I went back to base and grabbed all of the Dynamax candy that I acquired through the playthrough and gave them to my strongest Pokemons. I finally had enough candies to level my Doublade to level 56, and with that, I was able to evolve my Doublade into Aegislash. I grinded some more dens and was able to get my Pokemons to a pretty decent level. On day 49, I found a Thundurus in the Plains biome, and before we were even able to damage him, he took out one of our Pokemons and almost killed another. It turns out that the legendary raid dens were still too strong for me. Back in the fire gym, there was a Hoopa that spawned and decided to try and catch it. I lowered his HP and it only took a few Pokeballs to catch it. I went back home and tried to use the prison bottle, but turns out he already had one, so I used it and he transformed into his unbound form. This Pokemon was absolutely massive. I went back to the ground and grass gym and challenged them. This time, it was easier due to the fact that my team was a couple levels above them, and I was able to swipe through every trainer. At the gym leader, my Corviknight did a lot of work taking out the Pokemons. Then Lucario and Aegislash managed to clear up the rest, and we got the Quake badge. Next was the grass gym, and this time with my Corviknight being higher level and having Brave Bird, the gym was a breeze. When I got to the gym leader, it was literally just Dynamax my Corviknight and spam the flying Dynamax move. If he died, I would use Revive and spam Brave Bird. After all the Pokemons were defeated, we got the Rainbow badge. After that, I went exploring and found another village with some diamonds in it, another temple with more diamonds in it, found a cool ice plain biome, and then there was another Ultra Beast in the raid den, but literally it was too strong for us. I wanted to get the Gigantamax form, but in order to do that, I had to find a mushroom biome. I found an aesthetically pleasing cherry blossom biome, a tundra biome, and an ice gym in the middle of the ocean. I thought that this gym was going to be easy because I had a full steel type team, and it turns out I was just right. I spammed all of the steel type moves that I had and managed to make my way towards the gym leader. At the gym leader, I Dynamaxed my Metagross and spammed the steel moves. My Lucario used Aura Sphere and Aggron used Iron Tail. We got the freeze badge and it was back to exploring for the mushroom biome. I ended up finding a rectangular structure in the water and decided to go and investigate. Turns out it was the end portal. I'd never expected to find one in the ocean. I found a rock type gym and wanted to beat it. This gym was going to be pretty easy because steel types do well against rocks. This gym had so many trainers inside of it, I couldn't believe it. It had 24 trainers and took so long to get to the top. Once I got to the gym leader, my Metagross was able to destroy the entire team on his own, which was pretty amazing. And with that, we finally got the cliff badge, and it was back to exploring for the mushroom biome. On day 66, I found another ice type gym and speed ran through all of the trainers pretty quickly. At the gym leader, my Metagross was able to once again take on his entire team on his own, and we acquired the icicle badge. I found another temple and decided to loot it. While mining down, my bag was full and a sand block landed on the pressure plates, which activated the TNTs. I panicked for my life and used my Metagross to fly up. Once the explosion was done, I made my way down to take a look at the loot. I thought that it was a good idea to use my Metagross to fly out the temple, but ended up getting out of my Metagross by accident and died. I was able to get back all my loot, and on the way home, a Latias spawned. Now that my Pokemons were higher level, I knew that I had a chance to beat it. I Dynamaxed my Lucario and was able to deal a lot of damage. We took down the shields pretty easily, and Latias ended up knocking out Throw. We took out more of the shields, and she knocked out Pikachu and Mudbray. We got through the second round of shields and knew that we had a chance to beat it. Latias almost knocked out Pikachu, but we managed to deal enough damage before she ended up killing us all, and with that, we defeated our first legendary raid. I tried catching it, but ended up failing. My search for the mushroom biome continued. I found a Volcanion in the raid den, but was immediately humbled by its sheer power and lost. I found a skunk tank den and got enough candies to get my Metagross to level 99. A trainer was also near the area, and my Metagross got to level 100. On the hunt for the mushroom biome, there's a Fion that spawned in a 5-star den, so I decided to challenge it. Because it was a mythical Pokemon, it was considered part of the legendary goal, and we were able to defeat it with ease. We now had 2 out of 3 legendary dens defeated. I found a Milotic in a den and gave the candies to Corviknight. After 20 days of searching, I finally found the coveted mushroom biome. It was the first time in a long time since I last found this biome, and the items that I was searching for was the max mushroom. I looked around the entire area and managed to find 9 max mushrooms, which was more than enough to make the max soup. I used 3 of the mushrooms to make 1 and have Corviknight drink the soup because he was the only one that can use the Gigantamax form. With this, we finally completed 2 out of the 3 goals, and the only one left was to defeat one more legendary den. On the way home, there was a Lugia raid den near the area. I challenged it and used my Gigantamax Corviknight. He looked completely different from his Dynamax evolution and had red stripes and little red flying things around him. But that alone was not enough to beat Lugia, because he was just too strong. He took out Throw, Salazzle, Magikarp, and then Throw again. We were so close to beating it, but we lost at the end. While waiting for the last legendary den to spawn, I started to grind out some normal dens and level my Pokemon. My Corviknight got to level 99, beat a Carkol, and he got to level 100. Then it was time for my Lucario to reach level 100, so I started sweeping through a ton of dens and was finally able to get him to 100 after beating a Trubbish. A Moltres spawned in the area and decided to give it a go. I was kinda scared going into this because I only had steel types, and it turns out I was right. He burned my Corviknight into a crisp, and I knew that from this point this legendary was going to defeat all of us, and we ended up losing. So I decided to bully the Onix next to him, got the candies, a Garchomp, a Dracloak, an Umbreon, and a Jolteon. I leveled my Aggron to 99 and found a trainer chilling in the hills. After beating it, my Aggron was now level 100. On the 99th day, another Volcanion spawned and decided to give it a go. I was kinda worried because he was half fire and all that he had to do was focus me and the raid would be over. But he ended up not focusing me and we were able to take down the first set of shields, while he only took down one of our teammates. On the second round of shields, we ended up all landing our attacks and took it down with ease. Mudbray dealt the final blow, and with that, we finally completed all of the goals that was set for this challenge. And that's it. I had so much fun throughout this entire series, trying to get the perfect steel type team. The new update with the dens was also a cool thing to see, but I do think that they might require a nerf because my Pokemons were able to level up so fast, but in the end, I enjoyed the grind nonetheless. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe because it helps this channel a lot. And with that, I will see you guys later. Peace.